Narrating.
Hey guys, we're back. This is Fallstreak. A certain restlessness always pervades the air the day of school before the weekend, but today was even livelier than usual. Yay! Bridge breaking! My bridge finally broke! You're not supposed to want your bridge to break, dummy. Looks like we have our last two contestants, Adelise and the Larah twins. That's a pretty gutsy design, Aid. Suspension bridges are tricky to build. Guess you've done your fair share of research, too. Indeed, though the tension cables that suspension bridges utilized were known for their highly efficient weight to load-bearing ratio, working with them had been a great source of headache throughout the day. Looks like you went with a truss bridge, a pretty safe choice for the risk-taking Larah twins. It's all about the fundamentals when it comes to this kind of thing. It's already clear at this point who the winners will be. I wonder what kind of prize we'll be receiving. You sure you want to declare victory so prematurely? It'll make your upcoming loss sting much more, you know. Just as the two of us square off and start laying down the trash talk, Triss suddenly belches loudly, completely ruining the mood. Oh, Triss. Ugh, could you be any more uncool? In the final stage, we will simultaneously add weights to each bridge at regular intervals until we get to the last bridge standing. Are the finalists ready? The class cheers as the promised time arrives at last. Let's do this! Me and Triss will be the ones taking home the win today. The only thing you'll be taking home is the remnants of your truss. Who will be the ones to claim today's special prize? Will it be the plucky Larah twins or the cunning Adelise? The time has come to determine the winner of today's bridge construction contest. This is it, the final showdown. The three of us watch over our bridges intently as intimidating new masses are added to their already bulging payloads. Each time they successfully withstand the mounting pressure, our breaths of relief resound through the tense classroom, which had fallen unnervingly silent compared to its previous commotion. Methodically, slowly, our bridges are placed under such jors, their frames begin to deform from the strain. Time seems to slow to a crawl as a foreboding feeling that the upcoming wait would be the moment of truth grips me. What? Does that even make... Wait. Time seems to slow to a crawl as a foreboding feeling that the upcoming wait would be the moment of truth grips me. I don't think that sentence makes sense, but continuing. Then, just as the wait in question is added, the sound of splintering wood echoes through the air as someone's bridge finally gives in. Shocked silence swelled up within the room at that deciding instant. A single voice spoke. A conclusion has been reached. The winner is the Larah twins! Yay! The room explodes in cheers and cries at the declaration of the victor. No, it can't be true. I gaze down in disbelief upon the remnants of my sweet toil. Creation and destruction, such transient beauty. I knew it could have come to this, and yet it still wounds me. With the swagger of an undisputed champion, Kalia utters the ultimate words of victory. Good game, easy. I hate that. As the decisive winners, would you care to elaborate on your success to the class, Kalia? What do you think was the most important thing to keep in mind in regards to design decisions? If there's one thing that should have been the center of focus, it was the rule that all bridges must be under a certain weight limit. Though your bridge really did have a sturdy weight to load-bearing ratio aid, it didn't approach the weight limit that was given for the contest. I noticed that as well, but it was difficult for me to do anything about it. That's because suspension bridges are tough to reinforce after their first build. It's hard for you to do much with the wiggle room you end up with if it doesn't reach the cap right away. I see. Then can you tell us why you two chose the design that you did? Triss and I decided that a truss bridge was the best design for taking advantage of the limit. Truss bridges are made almost out of triangles, which are the simplest and strongest shape. Triangles are strong because they're hard to deform. Like, if you push on the corner of a square, you can easily turn it into another shape like a rhombus, right? But if you put a single diagonal bar inside the square and basically turn it into 2 triangles, it becomes really hard to change its shape. Also, since the triangles are the simplest shape with only 3 sides, it's easy to reinforce a truss bridge. The triangle is indeed a central building block in construction. It appears you are learning much from your father, Autun, Lyrat? Triss did a good job trimming weight off parts that we didn't need. We used a lot of smart tricks, like using the smallest amount of glue possible to connect the bridge parts. This was done by using a dab of glue and binder clips to make sure it attached strongly. At the end of the day, this project was all about milking as much as you could out of the bridge weight limit. Wow, you two make such a cool team when you work together. It's definitely why you won. As much as it pains me to concede defeat, I can't deny their groundwork is impressively well thought out. Guess my bridge couldn't handle the suspense. Well played, you two. Heh, I'm pretty sure our bridge could handle even more if we wanted to. Perhaps wanting to test her point, Triss reaches out and gingerly wraps their bridge with his knuckle, causing it to instantly collapse. It broke. Not even close, baby. Edging over to block the scene with her body, Kalia gives Triss a stomp to the foot for good measure as he stands dumbfounded with his hands still suspended in midair. Somehow, I feel really tired all of a sudden. While losing on the cusp of glory makes me somewhat salty, I have to admit their methods were on point. Just goes to show the value of being taught by someone with experience over simply reading about it in a book. As promised, I will now award you two your prize. With the light movements characteristic to handling something delicate, Mr. Narao unveils something from his valise and lowers it into Tristan's hands. Murmurs of awe could be heard as the class hurriedly crowds around the object in question. This is an ornamental hair clip created from the blazing orange feathers of the phoenix oriole, a species thought to have gone extinct since the fire of collapse. It's like it's on fire, burning up. Mr. Narao always gifts the coolest things. But while the class was clearly enraptured, one person alone seemed detached from the clamor. A person whose reaction you'd expect to be yelling at Triss to let her see it already. But instead, she gazes on wordlessly from a distance. However, Triss doesn't fail to notice this. Taking the feathered adornment in hand, he sidles up to his sister and, with an indiscreet motion, clips it onto her head. What are you doing all of a sudden? But Triss just smiles dumbly in response. Heh. Do you remember, Triss? The bedtime story she once told us? The story of the rainbow crow? Without a hint of hesitation, Triss nods. You know, right? Even though it wasn't the truth, she wanted to let us know of a happy ending. That's why we have to. With all that we've got, we have to. A girl who couldn't take hold of anything even as it lay right before her, and a boy who couldn't make his unspoken heart heard. It was a scene that captured the essence of the relationship between the Lyrat twins. Just as Kalia acted as Triss's voice when he could not voice himself, Triss acted as Kalia's hands when she could not reach out. It was a nuanced bond that one would never guess at with how they were always messing around with each other. We did it, Triss. Don't get too smug, though. This is just the beginning. Smiling faintly, they lightly bump heads for the forehead 5. Not so hard, dummy. Somehow it's really heartwarming. Me too. Blurg. Blurg. Ding, ding, ding. It appears that in her enthusiasm to join their Forehead 5 session, the Larona missile has knocked the Lyrat twins out of commission. Why don't you ever give Big Sis Larona Forehead 5s? It's not fair. Blub, blub, blub. I think the answer to that question is self-evident. Sibling love is not something to be underestimated. Kalia, Triss, they make me proud. They've come such a long way from the dark place they were in 2 years ago. Alright, class, though it's been an uneventful day, it's not over yet. We have quite a bit to clean up. Everything has to be squeaky clean if you want to get to the real fun. An air of unrest pervaded the room as students ran about, tidying things up to the best of their ability. But the reason was far from being because everyone was anticipating being let out for the day. Rather, everyone was looking forward to staying as long as they possibly could. Now, the moment that you've been waiting for. With Rowena at his side, Mr. Narao gestures over to the iconic valise. Games Day! Everyone shouts out in chorus as Rowena flips open the valise. I really hope I'm saying that right. It's been like a lot of valise. A flurry of balloons floods out all at once, blanketing the floor of the school. Not even the ceiling was spared as dozens of helium-filled ones flew into the air. That thing was really living up to its reputation as a hole to another dimension. For today's game, we will be playing a special version of Capture the Flag, inspired by an event yesterday that none shall speak of. The helium. The class will be divided into 2 teams of players. Each player will have a balloon tied around their waist that signifies their life. If that balloon is popped, such as by an opposing team member, you will be counted as being slain. After your balloon is popped, you cannot rejoin the game until you return to your team base and acquire another balloon from your team's allotted stockpile. The objective is to force the enemy team to deplete their balloon supply while protecting your own. Additionally, each team base will have a special flag that can be captured by the enemy team. A successful capture means that the opposing team must pop 10 of the balloons in their stockpile. Is there anything else you'd like to know? What do we get for winning? More rapt at attention than any lecture he could ever hope to give, the class screams out in unison. First off, a team will be counting as losing if all the balloons worn and stored on its side are popped. A losing team must accept punishment of inhaling helium until their voice becomes squeaky. Once that is done, the other team gets the exclusive right of dictating what must be voiced during that duration. Everyone quivered at the possibility of being forced to endure such humiliation. Yet at the same time, there was no denying the tantalizing prospect of reveling in the shame of the defeated. I will now announce the teams. After Mr. Narao finishes assigning the teams, I quickly survey what we have to work with. On my team, the blue team, were Tristan, Larona, and Noletta, along with Lemmy and Annabelle. I vote to make 8 our team captain. The moment we assemble, Larona immediately makes that suggestion. Words. Looking around, I see everyone nodding in approval. Leave it to me. I nod back, emboldened by everyone's unwavering confidence in me. Foremost at my thoughts were how to deal with the red team's aces, Kalia and Erwina. One might think our team would be at an advantage against the armless Kalia and unseeing Erwina, but they would be far from correct. Kalia was an unmatched speed demon that could run circles around us without getting caught, with her mobility allowing her to switch between attacking and defending quickly. The only thing that gated her was that she needed team support to secure objectives. As for Erwina, I was convinced she was a bat or something, because when she got heated up, she moved more like someone who could see an additional dimension rather than nothing. Erwina's physical capabilities were also out of this world, with there being little doubt that she could take anyone in a straight one-on-one. Wow, I just like making up words there. That being said, she was the other extreme from Kalia, being unable to maneuver around the battlefield too well with her vision impaired. Though her anti-personnel was peerless, she lacked offensive presence in regards to win conditions like raiding stockpiles and capturing flags, meaning we'd likely find her on base defense. As for our team, we had Triss, a slower but more prudent departure from Kalia, whose aggressive nature and quickness made him ideal for blitzing. Noletta, on the other hand, was cool-headed and resilient, with her sluggish speed making her more suited to holding down the fort. Lastly, Larona didn't have any noteworthy strengths on her own, but her aptitude for working on a team was difficult to overstate. She always seemed to have a good nose for covering teammates when they got themselves in a pinch, which made her synergize well with the risk-takers like Triss or Kalia. After breaking down our strengths and weaknesses, I assemble a strike team of 3 consisting of Larona, Triss, and me, with Noletta, Annabelle, and Lemmy making up the base defense team. Everyone knows their role, right? Let's get out there and do some damage. Breaking from our huddle with a battle cry, I look over at the red team to see how they are faring. Just to confirm, the balloons are positioned around everyone's lower back, correct? That's right, just give it a nice kick and it should go pop. A toothy grin could be seen on Kalia's face as she warmed up by kicking the air around what would be someone's eye level. Well, that's something to look forward to. Who's ready to win? Turning back to my team, I stretched my hand into the air to rally them. We are! Morale was already skyrocketing through the roof. Unable to contain our energy any longer, we rush outside the school building to set up base for the upcoming clash. As we do, I begin to give out more detailed directions regarding our lineup. Tactical command of base defense will fall on Larah. Larah, the flag and stockpile are separate locations, so make sure at least one person is guarding each at all times. Assign the quickest person to pressure relief should one location get focused down. Okay. This measure was necessary since I'd been concentrating my attention on directing the strike team. Tell us what to do, Larah. We won't let them through. Triss, I want you to be the strike team's vanguard. Don't make any attempts on objectives unless I order it. Just concentrate on picking someone off of their base defense. Once you poke a hole in the enemy's defenses, I'll direct how we push in. Triss shivers with excitement as he takes a deep breath and nods. The Lyrids thrived under the high pressure of spearheading assaults, jumping on the opponents the moment they showed a window of vulnerability. It was very much a high-risk reward form of approach, which was why the support-savvy Larah was invaluable for safety securing any leverage we generated. Larah, be sure to stick close to Triss so you can follow up on his takedowns and back him up if he gets blindsided. Okay. Be prepared to commit to full-on assault at my signal. After going over defensive contingencies, should our base be overrun, I turned to survey the battlefield. Our strike team was a highly concentrated one. Rather than spreading out our attackers, it aimed to overwhelm and spill into one section of the enemy's base. As such, it was good for surgical strikes and maintaining offensive momentum should even a single defense rampart fall. Defensive? I think that's a defensive. The main reason I selected this team composition was because it was well equipped at avoiding Erwina and attacking the areas she wasn't defending. This comp did have its share of weaknesses though. It was easier for the enemy to surround us and had weak ambient battleground presence for deterring attacks or relieving pressure on our own base. A lot depended on Larah's base defense to hold the line for the strategy to be successful. Upon completing our preparations, we line up to face the red team's camp. Seeing that both sides are ready for action, Mr. Narao lifts his hand to announce the commencement of the game. One last thing before we begin. There is a trump card hidden somewhere on the battlefield. Before his hand descends, though, a devilish smile plays over Mr. Narao's face as he inserts a sudden addendum to the game. Whoever discovers this trump card will be granted a powerful advantage. If you find your team on the verge of defeat, search for the trump card to turn the tide of battle. That's our teacher for you, adding a wild card right as the game is about to begin to generate the maximum amount of hype. Your only hint is as follows. Look through the sky to find the pure purpose of this school. The tension-saturated battlefield stirred at Mr. Narao's cryptic words. Now begin! Cutting that tension with a grand arc of his hand, Mr. Narao releases us at last. There's no time to dawdle on Mr. Narao's riddle. Almost immediately, Triss explodes into action with Larah and me following close behind. Crossing up the opponents that had advanced to attack, he weaves an oblique pattern through the enemy formation and crashes aggressively against their defenses. Pop! Tripping up one of the defenders that moves forward to meet him, Triss opens up an opportunity for Larah to follow up and pop their balloon. One defender left, manning the red team's flag, while the stockpile appeared to be unguarded, an unwise choice. Though the name of the game is Capture the Flag, in this version, a flag is only worth 10 balloons. Given enough time and personnel, you can pop all of the team's balloons if you attack their stockpile, making it a far much valuable objective. Making it far more? Okay, I'm not sure. Charge the stockpile! I order an audacious charge to take advantage of our lightning-fast breach of the enemy's defenses. Diving deep into the heart of the enemy camp, we eliminate the final defender by drawing him into a pincer as he hastily rushes to intercept us from the post on the flag. Pop as many of the stockpile balloons as you can. Just as Triss reaches for an enemy balloon, though, something strange happens. A rod extends from the cluster of red balloons, lightly tapping Triss on the side. Like a sprung trap, a hand erupts from within, scattering the balloons in its wake. Catching and redirecting his momentum with practiced ease, it drives Triss straight into the ground. It was Erwina, but just as she lashes out to finish him, Kya! Larah manages to heave him out of the way before collapsing to the ground herself. Crap, I had predicted Erwina would be on base defense. Why hadn't I considered the possibility of an ambush? Our offensive's momentum had stalled completely in the face of our veritable opponent. You shall not pass. With a declaration conveying absolute conviction, Erwina pounds her cane into the ground. A light touch with that thing was all she needed to confirm your position and take you down. That Triss had survived was a miracle. No matter how I looked at it, we were thoroughly outmatched. Taking Erwina head-on wasn't an option, and it wouldn't be long before the other defenders acquired new balloons and reinforced her, turning this into a losing battle. Retreat and go for the flag! Recalling we had eliminated its guard, I shouted our team to redirect our efforts. But Erwina is the first to react to my order. Dashing forward to catch us all, her rod chases after Triss and Larah as they desperately try to scramble around her. They can't get away without help. Eyeing Erwina's movements, I circle around to get an angle on her back before lunging forward with a deliberately loud stomp. Reacting with lightning speed, Erwina swivels around and checks my motion, her rod hovering mere inches from my chest. It was no exaggeration to say the radius around Erwina's person was a no man's land. If I had misjudged the distance and stopped any shorter, I'd be a goner right now. Realizing Triss and Larah had used the distraction to peel off, I promptly disengage as well and make a run for the flag. Ruby won! Now! Interpreting Erwina's cry as a panic signal, I hastily grab the red flag and start to fall back with the rest of the strike team. Watch out, Aid! Before we can even clear the enemy camp, though, a blur of movement flits in the corner of my eye. Thanks to Larah's warning, I managed to duck just as a foot sails through the air and threatens to lop off my head. It was Kalia, with her customary lack of chill. Utilizing her trademark speed, she had rotated back to defend in the blink of an eye. As Kalia advances to follow up on her whiff, Triss jumps in to intervene, tumbling to the ground with her in the process. At that moment, two red team members swoop in from behind and try to finish Triss off as he grapples with Kalia on the ground. Larah cuts in to shield him, but it's clear she's outnumbered. The red team's base defense has recovered and was attacking from behind. With the red offensive cutting us off from the front and the red defense pressuring us from behind, we were completely surrounded. Go Aid, we'll hold them off. Grasping that we can't avoid taking casualties, I abandon my teammates and take off with due speed. I keep my eyes peeled as I approach our flag holding the ground where the capture can be solidified if I manage to make it. That's when I perceive two people closing in on me from both flanks at once. It was the rest of the red team's assault squad. Judging that they'd catch me before I made it back home, I juked to the side at the last moment, causing them to skid off course. They quickly regained balance before reassuming their pursuit of me, though. Resuming, not reassuming. There's no way I can outrun them while encumbered by this flag, and I'm still too far away. At this rate, my comrade's sacrifice will be in vain. Just as the duo leaps at me, though, a strong gust blows past my face. A figure had placed itself between me and the encroaching enemies, utterly laying one out and stopping the other dead in their tracks. It was Noletta! The opponent in her grasp crumples spectacularly as she overpowers him, allowing the two under her command to neutralize the arrested enemy's balloons. It looks like she made the decision to abandon her base defense to converge on and secure the flag. Larah and Triss are down. The red team is mobilizing to launch a counterattack. We'll hold them back. Hurry, Aid! Nodding quietly at Noletta's back, I waste no time in leaving my companions behind, placing my trust in them as they stand their guard. Upon arriving at our flag-holding area, I plant the enemy flag into the ground and shout out, "Red flag capture complete!" The blue team has successfully captured the red team's flag. As stipulated in the rules, I will now proceed to pop 10 of the balloons in the red team's stockpile. As I turn back to confirm the situation, I feel my jaw dropping in disbelief at what I see. As I turn back to your prize, at what I see.
Thanks for watching!